Welcome to All Things Food, and I'm John Woods, and I love to cook, but I cook to love. And today we're going to love to cook this great potato salad recipe, so stay tuned. The way we want to, these are just small red potatoes, and we've already washed these, and the way we want to cut these up is kind of quarter them. If they're real big, you may have to cut them into smaller pieces. We'll cut that down the middle, and then cut it again. So we're going to get 8 pieces out of a potato. And you want, let me show you something about cutting any vegetable, especially potatoes or anything that's hard. You want a consistent size, because you've heard me say many, many times, consistency of cutting is consistency in cooking. So if you have a big potato and a small potato, obviously the small potato is going to cook much quicker than the big potato, and you're going to have either a potato that's not done or one that's too done. So we want these to be a consistent size. I think that's one of the keys to cooking, and especially when you're making potato salad. And you want these in a bite-sized, manageable piece, nothing really, really big. So that's secret number one to good potato salad. The second thing is, when we cook these potatoes, don't boil the potatoes. You want them to simmer. We're going to get the temperature of this water up to about 200 degrees right in there, just to where we have bubbles coming up around the edge like you see here. And we want these to simmer, because if we boil these, what's going to happen is they're going to get all beaten up on the outside by that violent agitation of the water, and they're going to cook so quickly on the outside and cook much slower on the inside, and it's really not going to be a very desirable potato for your potato salad. So we have these at a simmer. Let me show you a couple other real secrets. I always salt my water. Now, you know, we'll salt the potato salad maybe a little later if we need to, but it's like cooking pasta, because I want that salt to permeate the potato. I don't want it to be real salty, but I'll put salt in it, kosher salt. So when I'm done with this potato cooking it, it's going to be pretty well flavored, and I'm not going to have to add much salt later. We're using onions and celery in this particular recipe. And so what I've done is I've taken about some scraps of onion, I've thrown in there into the water, and some celery pieces, and that's going to give me even another layer of flavor. So what we're doing with this potato salad, you'll notice today as we go through all the steps, it's not just your ordinary potato salad. This has multiple layers in it of flavor, and you're going to like. I think this is the best potato salad I've ever had in my life. And I think you're really going to like it too. So we're going to cook these until they're fork tender. Let's check them out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these in and drain them, and then get all the water off of them. And then I'm going to put them in the refrigerator and cool them down before we go to our next step. So see you in a minute. While our potatoes are cooling down, we're going to go ahead and get to the next phase of it. Over here, I've got a little stove, and we're going to heat it up here. And we're going to cook some bacon over here in it. And this bacon's an important ingredient to this particular recipe. You can use bacon bits. I don't think you get as good a flavor and not as good a texture. So I'd recommend spending the extra time and cooking a little bit of bacon. We chopped up some celery. That's optional. Some people don't like celery, but I chopped it up kind of a medium chop. Some green onions. You've got to have some green onions. And then our Duke's mayonnaise, which is the star of the show, I think. I love Duke's mayonnaise, and for this particular recipe, we're going to start out with about 1 cup of Duke's mayonnaise and get about 1 cup sour cream. Take all that and just stir it together real good. We're going to set that aside for just a minute or two. That's going to go into our potatoes. Now, if we need to add a little bit more of that, we can. So we'll keep everything out and ready in case we need to do that here. And while that's cooking, our potatoes have cooled down, and I've taken out all the onion and everything that was in there. Now, one thing I sometimes will do, and it's kind of a unique little twist to this recipe, I'm not going to do it today, is I'll take those potatoes after they've cooled down, I'll pat them dry a little bit, and then I'll stick them in my bacon grease and get them crisp and brown just a little bit, and that gives it a really unique flavor and texture. We're not going to do that today. We're going to keep it really simple. So we're going to go ahead and just mix all this together. And be careful when you're mixing not to over mix, because you don't want to damage those potatoes. We'll go ahead and mix in our celery. our green onions, and then get a little pepper over here. Okay. And then another thing I like to put in it right here are the pimentos. I'm gonna get a few pimentos, and I'm gonna put those right over there in that bacon grease. Cook those up a little bit, and those are gonna go right in here. So we're gonna pull that bacon out of there, and we're gonna get some of that grease off of it. Cut that up, and that good old bacon's gonna go right into our potato salad. What do you do if you've over seasoned or over put salt on your potatoes when you're cooking those? Well, there's a solution to that, I think, that you can try. Go ahead and cook some more potatoes, maybe another pound or two. No seasoning on those at all, no salt at all. And then after they're done, kind of semi-mash them up a little bit. Don't mash them like mashed potatoes, and add that to the potato salad, and it'll probably help level out some of the saltiness if you oversalt it. Now, of course, there are some limits to that. If you really oversalted, it might be difficult to solve that problem. So be very careful with your salt. We're gonna put this bacon in here. Put it in the refrigerator for a couple hours or overnight. It's so much better the next day. If you really want the flavors to come out in this recipe, make it hours and hours in advance. Maybe make it in the morning for that evening, or make it one day for the next serving the next day. And you're gonna be glad you did, because it's gonna be so much more flavorful. And that's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna serve this tonight with these ribs I'm cooking over here. So it's gonna stay in the refrigerator for about another 7 or 8 hours, and I guarantee it'll be good. There you have it, folks. We have the ribs here, we have the slaw over there, and now we have this great potato salad. We've got the entire package right here. Be sure to like the video today. Hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Tell all your friends. But above all things, remember, love to cook, but cook to love. And I'll see you next week on All Things Food.